I have just an apology to offer first and foremost. I had promised to go live every Friday, and I had kind of stuck to that a little bit, and then I just got super overwhelmed, to be honest with you, just super busy, which is a good problem to have. And then, and I can finally say this now because it's been announced officially, but I was asked to be the co-host of the Perpetual Traffic podcast, which, if you're not familiar, is consistently one of the top 10 podcasts, top 10 marketing podcasts in the world. So I'm not trying to brag. I know that sounded maybe a little arrogant, and I didn't mean for it to be, but I just wanted to make the point that I'm excited. And if you're not familiar with it, it's Digital Marketers podcast. I can drop a link in the chat, which I will do now. But one of the issues that I run into is the Perpetual Traffic podcast. One of the blocks that we hold for recording is Friday at basically this exact time. So I'm still going to try to go live every now and again if I have the opportunity to do so, because I love y'all and I miss the ability to engage because it keeps me sharp and informed. But I'm going to be doing that too. So, first of all, check out the Perpetual Traffic podcast wherever podcasts are hosted. They're literally everywhere. You can also check out Digital Marketers YouTube channel. We've got a YouTube live going on that we do every Friday called Perpetual Fridays. So I'll actually post that now that I'm thinking about it too. The Digital Marketer YouTube channel, I mean. And would love to see y'all over there. Not that I'm trying to push you away from our channel. I want to keep you on our channel, of course. Somebody said, Happy Friday. And Restream just shows me Facebook users, so I don't know who you are. So I'm so sorry if we're friends and I'm not identifying you specifically. It's because I literally can't see. But now that I've got you here and I'm here, I'd love to answer any marketing questions you have, any traffic questions you have, any Google Ads questions you have, any questions about, hey, it's Militia. How are you? I heard you got a new job. I think you got your dream job, didn't you? You're not with the hospital anymore, right? You're like somewhere awesome that you love. And I'm so happy and proud of you. That's great. That's great. So yeah, if you've got questions, comments, concerns, confessions, lob them. Let's do this thing. If I know the answer, I'll be super articulate, and if I don't, I'll make it up, and you'll find out later, and then you can say things. Oh, hey, it's Robin. What's up, Robin? Robin runs our 3X Shopify community inside of Facebook. She's an absolute rock star. She's a part of our masterclass right now, which I should be seeing you later today, Robin, I hope. Militia says, I did. I left the hospital and now work for an agency as a marketing manager. Nice! Finally, senior management. That's awesome. You definitely deserve that. I always appreciate all your questions, and I can just tell that you dive deep, which is really cool. Someone says, when is advanced Google course coming? I've got a Google course. I'll share it here. It's called You versus Google. Boom. There it is. So this is the course that I created to teach people how to run Google Ads. And we're keeping it pretty up to date too, just FYI. So if you're interested, you can buy it. You don't have to. But, we'd love to see you in there. And then we've got an e-commerce course that we're creating using the masterclass we just shot. And I'm hoping that that's live by the end of this month, actually, which would be pretty cool. Diraj, hello, Custom. Love your stuff, man. Appreciate you, dude. Appreciate you. Thanks for being here. Thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing. Someone said today at 2, that's our masterclass connect. So hope to see y'all there. What else for y'all? What's the biggest problem you struggle with right now? Like, what's the thing, if you could wave a magic wand, I just asked this on my last live, if you could wave a magic wand and solve any problem, what would it be? Don't give me problems that you think are solvable. Like, give me all the problems, even if I can't solve it. I'm just interested. I'm interested in what business owners are running into. Is it traffic? Is it product creation? Is it fulfillment? Is it funding? Is it finding a partner? What are you running into? What keeps you up at night? What's the frog? Google Ads suspension, dude. You and me both. Somebody asked me, are you the one that asked me to create a video on that, Diraj? Was that you? Because I have that on my list. We're going to create a video on addressing Google Ads suspension. I'll maybe steal some of my own thunder with that video. It depends on why you were suspended. So we get a lot of calls actually from tech support companies out of India that have been suspended for various reasons that now want us to run their ads. And the narrative is almost always the same. They've got an unlimited amount of money. They're willing to pay us in advance, but they need us to front the ad spend, which they'll pay us in advance for, but the ad spend goes on our card, the account's in our name, etc. And the reason for that is because they found out that they're basically, it's not their account that's suspended, it's them. And Google monitors things like your billing profile. So if you're using the same billing address, same credit card, if it's the same person's name, even creating new Google accounts ends up being really difficult. So if you've done something that's like way against Google's, terms of service, even if you didn't know you were doing it, getting back online can be next to impossible. And I'm so sorry that sounds fatalistic. It might just be easier to find somebody who hasn't yet run into those problems and partner with them, and make sure that you don't gain access to their accounts, don't add yourself to their analytics, roll a new account up that way. If that's not the case, let's say that you've been suspended and there's an opportunity for redemption. There's actually an agency that we refer out to. They're friendly competitors of ours. They're called Stub Group. And Stub Group specializes in helping suspended campaigns, redeem suspended campaigns. So I'd head over in that direction, and those would be the people that I hire if you're looking to hire somebody. I don't deal with account suspensions much, to be honest with you. And gosh, this sounds horrible to say, but it's because the juice isn't usually worth the squeeze, to be honest. It's just too hard to get back up online. And then once an account is suspended, it's more likely to get suspended in the future. And, there's so many clients that don't have that problem that are available to us. It's just not something that we've done a deep dive. I know Stub Group charges. They charge a premium to get those accounts back online for you. Hernan from Argentina. Sorry there are no live subtitles, brother, but I appreciate you always watching. You're a rock star, dude. Militia says Facebook kicked off several of our users from some client pages. I think it's two-factor authenticator related, but I can't figure it out, and our accounts keep disconnecting from Sprout Social. Yeah, so Facebook is on a crazy, crazy tear. I've told this story quite a few times. Some of y'all probably know Dennis Yu. Dennis Yu is a world authority in the space of Facebook. He teaches Facebook compliance. Okay, so that's who that dude is. Wicked, wicked smart cat. His Facebook business manager was permanently disabled without explanation. And Dennis knows. I mean, I have to imagine he's got Zuckerberg on speed. Not probably not, but you know what I mean? Like whatever the highest tier person that you could get a hold of, if you were a high-end Facebook advertiser, Dennis knows those people. He manages a ton of spend, helps a ton of people. He's an awesome, awesome dude. His Facebook business manager was disabled without explanation. My business manager was disabled. Our biggest client's business manager was disabled. Facebook is just on this insane. If you go through the forums, by the way, if you go through any marketing forum right now, you just get a bunch of people talking about how, oh, my business manager is disabled and I don't know what to do. I have a video on it, a YouTube video that I can post. It's only like mildly helpful because when it happened to us, all I did was just call like every single friend I've ever had and beg for help. I'll post it here just so you have it. Let's see. My biggest thing is knowing where to keep my focus. Merchant account analytics, Google Ads, Shopify doesn't seem to keep up. Where do you keep your focus? That's a good question. I've taken this from a mentor of mine. He asks you to identify your critical path. And so you've got all these things that you could be doing, and you just think of them as little boxes on your desk. And the problem with looking at all those little boxes on your desk is it ends up being way overwhelming. The thing to do is to organize them as though instead of boxes, they're stepping stones. In order to advertise online, I need to make sure that I build my Shopify store, upload all of my products, add GTIN, get product image, and so on and so forth. And so if you take all those boxes and instead of looking at them wholesale, you turn them into a path. And then, so let's say that you've done that. In 80% of the cases, you now know what to do next. You do the first box, which, by the way, is going to be your least favorite. Because if you liked it, you'd have already done it. So it's going to be something that you're putting off. So you got to play the eat that frog game. So identify your critical path. Now, you might have, that's identifying your path. You might have multiple boxes. So you might have 3 boxes in the beginning and then 1, and it looks kind of like hopscotch. The thing to do then is to ask yourself, if I didn't do this, could I still move forward? And if the answer is yes, then take that box away temporarily. Turn it into a dotted box. It's a dotted line now. And when you do that, now you've identified your critical path. These are the things with the bottlenecks that I need to do in order to move forward. And your focus is on the very first thing. and you actually ignore all of the other things until that first thing is done, and you get it done with the passion of 1,000 fires covered in Tabasco sauce. Like, this becomes your life's mission, is to follow that critical path. Was that helpful? Let me know if that got too philosophical for you. Can you share what group you're talking about regarding ad account suspension? Yeah. So I'm not in the habit of promoting competitors, but they do a good job when it comes to suspended accounts specifically. I will say we do a good job when it comes to everything else. So I think that we're the best Google Ads agency in the world. But I don't take suspended accounts, so that's where I would push you. And I just dropped them into chat, by the way, Duraj. Sorry, I couldn't be more helpful, man. I know what you're dealing with is tough. I've been there, but there's no perfect answer. If there was, I'd actually be a much wealthier person because I'd be selling it to people. Daniel says, what tracking platform are you using to track conversions on Facebook and Google? Really good question, Daniel. My disclaimer is we're actually early stage investors. So what I'm about to share with you, I have a vested interest in, but I was a user before I was an investor. I invested only after being a user. We're using something called Northbeam. And the reason we're using Northbeam is because multi-channel attribution is a problem that we all contend with now, and it's going to get worse as data is taken away from us. So the current problem that you run into is, let's say that you're running ads on Facebook and you're running ads on Google. It's going to take 31 impressions before somebody converts. And generally speaking, it's going to be multi-channel. So they've got some exposure on Facebook, some exposure on Google, and you don't always know where it started because session IDs break and you can't track everything. And so what ends up happening is when somebody buys, Facebook goes, we did it, and Google says, we did it. And it's difficult for you to identify who's telling the truth if you're just using something basic like Google Analytics. Now, let me pause there. You still have to use Google Analytics. Please make sure you hear me. Google Analytics is one of the best tools you can use for just triangulation. It's the foundation. It's kind of the first line of defense. So if you're not using analytics, make sure that you have it in place. You want to track using Facebook's Pixel. You want to track using Google Ads. You want to use the Google Ads onboard tracking. Don't use analytics tracking and push into Google Ads. Actually track conversions in Google Ads, and then track conversions in Google Analytics so you can reconcile between all of those. And then if you need help with multi-channel attribution, Northbeam. It's specifically for e-commerce accounts, although I think it can work for non-e-com clients. You'd have to reach out to them to figure it out. This is going to become more and more important with Flock, iOS updates, etc., because we're losing more data, and these organizations, these SaaS products are helping us put that data back. You also want to make sure that you're using Facebook's conversion API. So Facebook, and if you don't know, just a real quick brief aside, iOS 14 took 96, or it's actually, I think it's 91% of data now, basically blinded all Facebook advertisers, adjusted for margin error entirely. So you can't see what people are doing, what the conversion actions are taking if they're not opting into tracking. And at last count, I think only like 9 or 10% of people have opted into tracking, according to a site that I follow called Flurry. If I can find that link quickly, I'll post it here. And so if they don't opt into tracking, they'll still deliver one event. It's one of the events in your aggregated event measurement, and it's hopefully the prioritized event, because you have to tell Facebook what your priority is, but it's not always the first prioritized events. It's the first prioritized event that iOS is willing to offer. And that's me saying that the best way that I understand it, and which might not be the best way. So if there's somebody out there that has better information, please correct me. So what that means is you are flying 100% blind with Facebook. But when somebody converts, you can use Facebook's conversion API to put their information back into Facebook, and that sort of fills the gap and then gives Facebook more information as to what's working and how to continue, optimizing ongoing. If you're not using Facebook's conversion API, you are throwing money away. You absolutely positively have to use Facebook's conversion API if you're going to run Facebook ads with any degree of efficacy. I can't be more bullish on that statement. Without it, you're basically running, it's new television advertising. It's just batch and blast to everybody. I hope that helps. Daniel, let me know if you have other follow-up questions. Militia says there's a copyright phishing scam going around too right now. Wondering if we fell for that. Yeah, I used to, God forgive me, I used to kind of poke fun at the folks that got caught up by those, but then remember my staff got caught up by one of those, and they're so good. Those scammers are I wish they could put their minds to something productive, because they're easily the smartest people in the world. Some of the stuff they come up with is just so creative. It's like, man, if you would just do something for the good of humanity, you know what I mean? You could cure cancer, I don't know. Invent a faster computer. Who knows? Jeb! Yo, Kasim, thanks for doing the live. Yeah, absolutely. And I got to apologize again, y'all. I know I promised to do this weekly. I'm not going to be able to do that because of my new commitments, but I'm going to do it as often as I can. So Jeb says, we're getting a lot of our conversions right now through what Google labels other search terms. Yeah, dude, shoot me in the face. You and me both. Any idea what we can do to find out what these terms actually are? I'm referring to when we review our conversion results under the search terms tab. Now, so what Google has done is they took away search term reporting. When they did this, they told us that it was going to be a small percentage and it was meant specifically to protect people's privacy. What we have found, my business partner and I measured it once, and this was a long time ago, so I don't know if it's changed, but in a short, call it a day or two, we had 10 leads, and I think 6 of them were from other search terms, not provided search terms, which was, 60% of our closed leads. Google is withholding search term data from us, which is also troubling because at the same time, and if you don't know, I'll back up just a little bit. It used to be that if you bid on, Google Ads agency and somebody searches for PPC agency and that's what they click on, Google will show you 100% of your search terms all the time. It'll show you everything, hey, here's what you bid on, here's what you actually got, which they had to do because you have like broad match, modified, phrase match, etc. And so they showed you how expansive the campaign was getting. Here's what's interesting. First, they took away search terms. And they're like, hey guys, we can't give you all of these because some bad excuse that doesn't make any sense. And we're like, oh, okay, I guess we don't have a choice. So they took away search terms and now you don't have all your search terms. Based on the napkin math that I've done, you don't have the majority of search terms. And at the same time, they took away broad match, modified, match type, and they started expanding their match types. They're so aggressive now. Their exact match, it's insane what they've done. Like I can go to Google and say, Google, I want exactly this. I want Google Ads agency, exact, no adjustments. Sorry, I hit my microphone. I know that probably just hit your ears. I want exactly Google Ads agency. And they'll be like, PPC company. That's good enough. And then they'll fire that off to me. Now, in some instances, they're correct, but in some instances, they're not. That's why I chose exact match. Google, if I wanted you to be expensive, I'd have chosen broad match modified or broad match. So I wish I had good advice for you, brother. I don't. What I will say is you have to monitor your search terms with a passion and then make sure you're doing everything you possibly can to update your negative keywords, because the few search terms you have, you expect that every mistake that you see has been made 2 or 3 times now. And so if you do see something that you don't want, make sure that you're excluding that and be way more aggressive with your negative search terms on the front end. Sit down, have a whiteboard meeting with your entire staff or all your clients and figure out like what are all the things that somebody might search for that we don't want. That's the best bad advice I can give you. Let me know if there's a follow-up to that. Michael says, we sell inexpensive samples, $5 and convert customers 30 days later with an average cart of $1,000. Is Smart Shopping smart enough to pick up on this as you can't have one without the other? Yes is my short answer. You can do, Google has offline conversion import. And so what you'd be able to do is once that deal closes, you can actually put that information back into Google and Google will optimize according to the new value associated with that G-clit. It will take some time. And what scares me about that for you, Michael, is I don't know. The issue with it is Google's aiming at a specific ROAS, and because it takes 30 days, Google's not going to qualify your campaign as profitable fast enough. So it makes me wonder what I might do there is I might juice it a little, and I might set your ROAS requirements. Well, in the beginning, you don't have ROAS requirements according to our best practices, but I would basically be happy with whatever you get. Wait until you have the 30 days worth of data, which to be honest with you is 60 days, right? Because you have to run 30 days, get the purchases, and then, whatever. But wait until you have enough data to pipe into Google, and then you would start to optimize. So what you have, Michael, is a campaign that's going to take 30 days longer to tenure than any other Smart Shopping campaign. That's my best guess at that. My business partner is the Smart Shopping guru. So if you'd be interested in us running that campaign, I'd be happy to talk to you. I can't promise you that we take it on because I'd have to see whether or not it's viable. But it's something that we could chat up. And I didn't mean to just try to sell you, by the way, if that's not what you're interested in. That's not what this YouTube channel's for. What's the link for the live you shared to Facebook? We can't see the links in 3X Shopify Challenge group. Oh, just go to Digital Marketer's YouTube channel. Just go to YouTube and search for Digital Marketer. I go live there with the co-host of the Perpetual Traffic podcast, Ralph Burns. We go live every Friday at 8 a.m. Pacific, 11 a.m. Eastern. And if you go to Digital Marketer's YouTube channel, subscribe to Digital Marketer, you'll see that. It's not Google Ads specific, as you can imagine. It's traffic and then, broader marketing discussion. And what's interesting is Digital Marketer has 54,000 subscribers. And yet I actually have more viewers right now with my 3,000 subscribers, and I get way more questions. So I think that we've just got, and I'm not trying to bash Digital Marketer at all. Obviously, they're better at what they do than I am at what I do. But the point that I was trying to make is I think we've got a really engaged audience, which I appreciate. So I just got to tell you all how much I appreciate you showing up, asking questions. Y'all are awesome. So thank you. Duraj says, thank you, man. Absolutely got your back. Michael says, also, what size account do you think it makes sense to hire an agency versus keep in-house? Our ad spend is 6 figures a month, but none of us are AdWord experts. If you're spending 6 figures, you definitely need help. The question is do you do an agency or in-house? I'm partial because I own an agency. So I'll give you the agency pitch. And then maybe what I'll do is I'll try to argue against myself. The agency pitch is I've got 154 different accounts that I get to look at. So when it comes to staying on top of the shifts in the market, what's happening, what's changing, you'd be shocked at how often I look at like a small localized Montessori account, and the information that I glean from that is able to influence the national SaaS campaign that we're running, because changes aren't always consistent, and they're not always happening in the same account at the same time. So an agency is going to have way more data than you'll ever have. And not only that, I also don't think that Google Ads management is a one-person task. When you hire an agency, or when you hire us anyway, let me go find my fun little slide deck. This is about to get a little pitchy, y'all. I'm so sorry. Feel free to tune out. Just come back later, because I promise not to do this often. So when you work with us, this is what you get. This is you. You're the client, obviously. You get a dedicated client manager. I like to call them client advocates, a dedicated account specialist, and a dedicated strategist. Here's why. Most agencies put you in touch with one person who's all three of these things. That's a flawed model. Specialists are engineers. These are brilliant people, but they're left-brained. They're thinkers. They're nocturnal, cave-dwelling, over-caffeinated, antisocial. And I'm just kidding. Actually, our specialists are awesome. But you know what I mean? Like, they're not the person that you want to connect with the client. And they're not necessarily, if you're the only person in the room, you're the smartest and the dumbest person in that room. So you also get a client manager who acts as an ad hoc specialist and advocates on your behalf. And then overseeing this duo to create a trifecta is an account strategist. I only have 2 on staff. We have 45 employees, and I've got 2 strategists because they're expensive. But this person makes sure that all the assumptions that are being made are correct and heading in the right direction. Plus, you get a backup specialist, and you get a call rater, a dedicated call rater. If your campaign has phone calls, we listen to and track every single individual phone call. If you tried to hire for that, there's 5 people there that you have to hire for, basically. That's why I'd say hire an agency. Here's why I wouldn't hire an agency. I'm never going to know your business as well as an internal employee will. There's nuances that an internal employee is going to understand that we just aren't going to understand. We work really hard to get close. Maybe we hit 80% of it, but there's some stuff that somebody whose finger is to the pulse, and all they're doing, my client manager, they're dedicated to you, but they also have 19 other clients. So there's dilution there. If you had somebody who's looking at your account 24/7, 365, it stands to reason that maybe they'd be able to identify some opportunities that we weren't able to identify. I have a hard time believing that, to be honest with you. But again, my dad likes to say, if you're good with a hammer, you think everything's a nail. So I hope that didn't come across as too pitchy, Michael. Would love to work with you if it's a fit. If it's not, try to drive in whatever direction makes a lot of sense. Keep up the good work. Learn a lot from you and John. Appreciate that, man. Thank you so much. Maher, does adding or removing products in smart shopping campaigns affect the campaign negatively? It absolutely can, yeah, especially depending on the products you remove. So if you're removing non-performers, you should be in good shape. But don't remove, especially the acquisition products, which you'll find oftentimes, and this happens way more often than you'd think. The product that somebody clicked on isn't the product that they bought. And so if you just go through and you identify the products that are selling, and then you start removing the other products, you might be killing your acquisition products. So make sure you're paying really close attention to the data. How do you triangulate why a smart shopping campaign lost ROAS? Maher, is the campaign, is it tenured? Are you beyond the learning period? Because if not, smart shopping needs 45 days untouched just to learn. And it's insane when you see it. We had one campaign go 2 weeks without a single impression, but it needs 45 days just to learn, and it's going to bounce all over the walls. Like you're watching a machine learning. It goes crazy. And then after that, you probably need another 45 days in order for it to tenure. And then you get to start trying to optimize that campaign. So if you've lost ROAS in that 90-day block, you're still within the margin of error. If it's been longer, then I would question the changes that you've made to the feed. I'd be curious as to whether or not you've adjusted the target ROAS. I'd be curious about your competitive ecosystem. Check out Auction Insights, see who else has entered the market. I noticed in my smart shopping campaigns that in the ad group settings, aggressive targeting optimization is turned on. Do you know anything about this or whether it's better on or off? I don't. That's a good question for John. Would you rather optimize for lower CAC or higher ROAS? Man, it depends on your model. Honestly, it depends on the lifetime value of your customer. Because your profitability is tied to the end result, not to the front end acquisition. I'm going to make a note on that aggressive targeting thing and go figure out what that is. I don't like not knowing the answer to things. So aggressive targeting. If somebody from my team is listening to this and you know what he's talking about, please just chime in and let me know. Some of our products, some of our products that we're losing money on, I segregated them in their own campaign, yet the ROAS in that campaign is the highest of all the campaigns. Yeah, we've seen that happen too. So we used to, if you've paid attention to our old education, we used to tell people to separate their smart shopping campaigns by margin, low, medium, high. What we found out after doing that, we were wrong, by the way, so sorry. What we found out after doing that is smart shopping campaigns don't share. So if you have people that hit smart shopping campaign A, and you remember what I said earlier about like they clicked on product A and bought product B. Well, if you take product A and put it in smart shopping campaign A and take product B and put it in smart shopping campaign B, smart shopping is a remarketing mechanism first and foremost. Those two things aren't going to cross-pollinate, which can kill your ROAS. So that might be what happened, Maher, is moving those products around. Now, that's not to say that you shouldn't separate your products into separate campaigns, as long as you notice that there's zero cross-pollination, which happens for companies that have very, very, very distinct product categories. Separating smart shopping campaigns can make a lot of sense because you can you have more control. You can prioritize certain products and spend, prioritize certain margins, etc. I hope that's helpful. Jeb says, thanks for the response, Qasim. All that makes sense. Keep up the good work, brother. Appreciate you, man. Michael says, no RAOS. No ROAS, maybe? Diraj says, can I change my car desktop internet connection? This can solve my, maybe. Yeah, if you wiped your entire tech stack, because they can fingerprint you, and I'm sure they do, and your financial data. So you can't use the same credit card, billing profile, billing information. So, if you're married, get your wife to get a credit card or whatever. I would try that. Michael says, see you on Monday. Awesome. Are we meeting on Monday, Michael? Do I know you? And did I just not figure that out? Oh, dude. You're going to the Affiliate Summit. Nice. Oh, by the way, y'all, I'm speaking at the Affiliate Summit. So if you want to go to the Affiliate Summit in New York, I still have free tickets to give away. They gave me 20 free tickets, and apparently people don't like me as much as I thought they would because nobody's taking me up on them. So I'm going to drop this video into chat that promotes the Affiliate Summit and includes a link to go get free tickets, which I'm kind of surprised that they're doing that, to be honest with you. It's a hell of a freaking deal, and it's a really cool event. Here we go. I still owe you a review. Daryl. What up, Daryl? Yeah, I appreciate you, man. There's no rush on that. Whenever you get to it, I appreciate it, though. Those reviews, there's just nothing more valuable for us. So thank you. Thank you for keeping that top of mind. Michael got one of the tickets. That's awesome, dude. I can't wait to see you. Make sure you come tap me on the shoulder. Let me know who you are. I'm only there for a day. I'm taking the red eye in Sunday night. I don't like being away from my kids. So if I speak, I try to just like bookend it. I get in, I get out. Yeah, so can't wait to see y'all there. Okay, I'm going to butcher your name, but I'm going to try it. Subramaniam. That's badass. Subramaniam said, can you explain lead generation extension? Yeah, so I think if you're talking about Google's lead ads, the lead extensions, it works just like Facebook's lead form. What's really cool about it is it lives inside of the Google ecosystem. And so if somebody Googles something, I wonder if I can trigger it now. Where it's always shown is insurance. So I'll say personal insurance. Let's see if I can get one. Google stopped showing me ads because it knows who I am. That was arrogant. Of course, Google doesn't know who I am. But you know what I mean? Like, as I search for things trying to trigger certain ads all the time, I noticed that, like, it kind of pulls back on me. Anyway, I won't try. But what you can do is you can have an extension, just like all the other extensions that you build inside of Google Ads, site link, type extensions, call out extensions, etc. You can have an extension that triggers a form, and the form pops up, but it's pre-populated with the information that Google already has on these people, which is amazing. It's actually better than Facebook, I think, because people lie to Facebook and give it the wrong information or old and antiquated information. Google tends to have more updated information because people are using Google for other things, a lot of financial services. And so it's pre-populating the fields that Google has information for. Now, it's not going to pre-populate fields that Google doesn't have information for, obviously. So you want to make sure that you're keeping those form fields light. But a pro tip would be, if you're getting leads and you're getting too many leads of a low quality, add a form field. And I forget all the lead. You know what? Why don't we build one right now? Just do that. We've got time. I hope y'all are cool with that. Let's go see. Oh, I might not be able to do this now I think about it. I don't know what account I can pull up. Since this is live, I can't edit it. Shoot. Let me go see if I have a dummy one that's just ready to go. Hold on, y'all. Yeah, I don't. I'm sorry. I wanted to show you how it actually functions, but if I can't share accounts that I can't edit for obvious reasons. Oh, boom. Here we go. Here's a dummy account. Ha ha. Oh, John said you can use ours for lead forms. Thank you, John. I use my sandbox. So we've got add lead form extension, which, by the way, let me show you how I got here. If you're under ads and extensions, you click on extensions, click on plus, and then we're going to go down to lead form extension. And now we're going to create our lead form. View and accept terms. Cool. So obviously I needed to add it to a campaign. I don't have a campaign here because it's a sandbox account. I could use an existing one if I had one, but I'm going to create a new one. And then free Google Ads audit. Oops. Solutions 8. We are the best Google Ads agency in the world. Now the questions. So name, notice it says pre-filled, which is really cool. These questions may be pre-filled with the person's information when available, making it more likely a person submits the form. This is awesome, y'all, because the form triggers and they don't have anything to do, like the work is done for them. So I can ask for first name and last name or full name. I don't like first name and last name because there's two separate fields. Every field, this is a HubSpot statistic, every field decreases the likelihood of conversion by 11%. I don't know how true that is anymore. I'm pretty sure that study was like from 2019 or something, but it's some number, right? It's some number greater than 1%. So I like just saying, hey, give me your full name if you've got it. That's assuming that I don't need like the cleanest CRM in the whole wide world. If you're doing a massive amount of lead generation and you have a business case for needing to collect first and last name, go for it. And then I might say phone number, email. Now, anything past this starts to get dangerous. You're going to see dilution. Only ask for the information that you absolutely positively have to have. And then we're going to add questions if you get too many leads. So you might say, hey, I've got a real estate investment campaign. I have to know where they are geographically. Great. Just ask for zip code. And by the way, well, I'm not going to say that. That's too bullish. I was going to say, I don't know why you'd ask for like city, state if you can just ask for zip code. Maybe you've got a use case for a reason, but if you have the zip code, you can figure out the city and the state. Don't ask for people for information that, like, don't make this hard, basically is what I'm saying. So now you can ask for work information, company name, job title. I feel like some of this, you're begging for dilution in conversion rates. Qualifying questions, these are cool. And by the way, there used to be like 4, and this is way more than I've ever seen. As a matter of fact, it's grown even more. So you can say like, what size is your company, annual sales, what's your job role, general, which services you're interested in. And then what's really cool about these is they get like, build multiple choice, short answer, like, wow. This is awesome, y'all. It's so funny. I didn't know that it was this robust. It's been a minute since I built my own lead form extensions. Can you tell? But so anyway, you build these lead form extensions. You have to have a privacy policy URL. And by the way, just quick soapbox moment, make sure that your privacy policy actually aligns with how you treat people's data. This is a freaking lawsuit waiting to happen. The next phase of digital marketing is going to be the ambulance chasing lawyers running around suing everybody because their privacy policies aren't intact. Background image, if you want one. I'm not going to upload anything because I don't know what's on my desktop right now and I don't want to be embarrassed. And then there's the submission message. When you do this, you get to see, here's the ad. And then when they click on it, this is what the form looks like. And it opens right there in the browser, pre-populated. And then when they submit, here's the submission message. And you can see it in desktop and in mobile. Really awesome utility. Here's the disadvantage to it, is it's too easy to fill out. So if you've got a phenomenal offer, or you've got something that, people that are super clicky, we've got a client actually that, trying to think about how I can say what they do without giving away who they are. They deal with some level of debt servicing, and they can only deal with people that have X amount of debt or more. And so this ends up being a problem for them, because if they get too many leads, their sales team just gets overwhelmed, and now they're looking for a needle in a stack of needles. So we actually have to have the qualifying questions. But I would start with a low question count, get all the leads in, and then start to see how many questions you have to add before it begins working for you. I have so many questions now. Oh, John's here. John, are you here? Because if you are, I wonder if I can add you to this. I'm going to invite you in Slack. You don't have to come, by the way. I know you're busy. Y'all, if John comes here, you're in for a treat. We bill his time out at $1,500 an hour, so you're going to get some good consulting. Where am I? Ad extensions. Hey, buddy.
Hey.
All right, so somebody asked me a question I was embarrassed not to know the answer to. They said aggressive targeting optimization is enabled inside of the ad group.
Yeah, so that should be for, let me just mute the...
Dude, is that new?
There we go. So no, aggressive targeting, there's two things. There's called, it should be conservative and aggressive automation. So you have targeting that is inside of a smart display campaign. So the smart display campaign is not necessarily going to be for smart shopping, it's smart display. And you have two options. You have conservative automations or aggressive automations. The aggressive automation, think of it, is going to be saying, I'm going to get 20 and 30 impressions per user. I'm going to bid higher. I'm going to bid more frequently on more channels. Conservative is like, I'm just going to kind of dip my toe into this. And so my opinion is, unless you have a campaign that's just rocking and rolling on display, and you can go ahead and turn it into smart display and then choose aggressive. But if you have a brand new campaign and you may have thinner margins, or you might have a little bit high CPA, and you've maxed out everywhere else, and if you max it out on the, everywhere else inside of Google, display is always like my last option, unless I'm remarketing. But it's always my last option in terms of a campaign to run to grow. So make sure that everything else is kind of maxed out first. So if you're running smart shopping, search, DSA, remarketing, your brand campaign, I would still probably go into YouTube first and then display afterwards. But display, just be mindful that if you have aggressive automation turned on in a smart display campaign, it acts like a remarketing campaign, because that's just simply where it's going to be able to scoop up the most wins in the shortest amount of time. So it does actually compete with the remarketing campaign already that's running, because what it basically says is, hey, who's gonna convert first? Well, Costin's been on my website. He's bought 3 times, and let's start showing our ads to that person because he might buy a 4th. So it kind of chooses the path to least resistance, which doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to go find new audiences, especially if it's trying to go. It's like, do I run on my branded keyword or my top of funnel keyword? Google's just automatically going to get more weight to your brand keyword because that converts very frequently. Same thing with audience targeting. It goes after frequent users, frequent purchasers, yada, yada, yada. So what you are going to want to see is that if you're using aggressive automation inside of a display campaign, track your UTMs, make sure that you're sending over the campaign name, so that if you see that smart display campaign that's using aggressive automation, sending over leads or sales that are existing or frequent users, you might be just spending money to have the same remarketing campaign. So again, you want to use this strategically, but my SOP is, if it's a brand new display campaign, start on conservative, then move it to aggressive. But unfortunately, that's not an option that's available in smart shopping. It's just the smart display.
Yeah, I'm glad that you said display. I was freaking out. I was like, how is I had never seen this before. This is insane. Maher had another question that I didn't answer well. Would you rather optimize for lower customer acquisition costs or higher ROAS? I said it depends on the lifetime value of your customer, but I know you've got some like really strong opinions here. And we talked about, go ahead. Take.
So was it lower
CAC?
So cost per customer. Okay, so lower CAC or higher ROAS. Well, yep. Again, it heavily depends upon LTV. If these users make 6 to 8 purchases a year, I'll pay twice as much for a customer with 50% ROAS, because I can get 10 times those amount. But again, if you have people that are like 1.3 average lifetime purchases, then you're going to have to focus on ROAS 1,000,000%, because it doesn't make you any money to spend $1 million to make $1 million. You might as well just turn over campaigns. It's not going to do you any good if they're never going to come back. So again, yeah, it has to be LTV. If these people are making repeat purchases and there's good referrals, like, oh yeah, I bought something and I told my sister about it, then yeah, absolutely go after the most amount of customers, and know your break-even ROAS. So if you have 50% profit margins, max out at 200% ROAS and scale that to the moon, because that's where you're going to see the most amount of profitability long term, is because you're simply getting a free customer that their purchase number 2 through 6 are pure profit. Purchase number 1, you broke even. So again, it heavily depends on LTV. And if you don't know your LTV, my opinion, I'm not going to say don't start Google Ads, but don't do anything really expensive in Google Ads yet.
So sometimes you have to start Google Ads in order to know your numbers. But John and I just got off another live video for Digital Marketer, where we beat the sim drum. So if you're watching there too, forgive the redundancy, but y'all, you have to know your numbers. You got to know your data. It's irresponsible as a business owner not to. And it's not hard. It's just tedious. It's not hard. It's tedious. So do the tedious work, figure out what your numbers are, because then you can do things like what John's talking about.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's paramount.
Duraj says, I don't have a spouse right now. I'm a college student. By the way, what are the fingerprint you're talking about? Google knows who you are. Fingerprinting is identifying who somebody is based off of multivariant attributes. So like what your IP address is, how much memory is left on your phone, what OS you're using, etc. Things that, to be honest with you, I understand surface level, but like basically they know exactly who you are all the time.
Your motherboard's manufacturer.
Yeah, Duraj has a suspended Google Ads account, and so we're talking about like he needs a new IP address, a new computer, a new credit card. He basically needs like a whole new identity.
No joke. We had a person physically move and get a new computer, a new phone, because he was banned. And it was like he was spending like 10K per month, making 100K per month, and that campaign got banned. And in the meantime, we rebuilt it, and the only way he can see it before he moved is a screen share with me logging in and him looking at my screen. That's how we updated him on what was going on. So yeah, he physically had to move. It was a nightmare, but yeah.
Akeem Mad says, hey, Costum, what's the ideal objective progression for training, optimizing, and scaling smart shopping campaigns for 5 to 10 related products and equal price points? You need to take our masterclass. What's the ideal objective progression for training, optimizing, and scaling smart shopping campaign? That's going to be tough for us to answer in 12 minutes. And I don't mean to be dismissive. Do we have a YouTube video on this? We have to.
I'm trying to find that question.
Oh, 93614 time code. 93614. You might not see them all because you just joined. I don't know if it gives you retroactive.
No, I'm gonna hop over to YouTube. Ideal objective. Okay, so what I'm guessing, like what's the steps?
What's the cadence?
Yeah. Optimize scale smart shopping campaign for 5 to 10 related products. Okay. Quick points that I can nail right off the bat because with limited time. Start with an ad spend higher than $50 per day, ideally. Do not start with a return on ad spend goal. Do not instill a ROAS goal until day 90. So don't even put in a ROAS goal until day 90. Give it time and don't touch it. I can't make that point hard enough. You don't want to like start with a higher, then kind of bring it down in ad spend, and then add that ad spend back in because it kind of was working before. You don't know anything about what's going on with the campaign. And I'm not saying you won't. I'm just saying, like, in the beginning, no one knows anything. You don't know how long it's going to take for a sale to take place. You don't know how much sales on a specific item. You don't know how many impressions before a click, how many clicks before a sale, how many sales before a return customer comes back, because Google's going to target them as well. So all of those things that are unknown for the first legitimately 90 days are going to be a big test. So for smart shopping campaign, it's at least $50 a day because you need enough budget to take in new customers while also repeating showing ads to and remarketing, because smart shopping is both inbound, outbound, and remarketing. So you need to have enough budget to function all three perfectly with a big enough audience. So starting with $50 per day or more is ideal. Anything higher than that is even better. It's just gonna be more expensive for long term, but should give you more return and more sales. But that's the thing is just a couple just good sound bites. $50 a day or more. Don't instill ROAS goal until day 90. Don't add or remove products until day 90. You can scale, but if you increase budget, stay there. You can't increase budget, then decrease budget, because then all of a sudden 2 weeks later, you'll see sales and then you won't see sales because of the new audiences that came in 2 weeks ago because they take 14 days to buy. So that's a good kind of starting point. And from there, yeah, I would definitely join the masterclass because then we talk about all this stuff pretty much all day long. And then we go through and we address specific issues.
Freaking Yvonne, more John, less Cossum. How do I kick somebody off of YouTube? I'll have to do that. Abhijit says it's funny. Yeah, exactly. It's funny how I can get so accurate recommendations on YouTube, even when I have turned off all sorts of history on YouTube, searches, viewed vids, etc.
Yeah, you can't turn that off.
Here's the thing: you can't turn off Google's tracking. Here's a point that I've made recently that actually terrified me. When you open an incognito window, Google's still tracking you. It's stopping other people from tracking you, maybe, but Google's still tracking you. And I have no way of proving this, but what an amazing predictive indication to Google that, hey, they're doing something interesting. I'm going to prioritize whatever it is you're looking at in incognito window. So it doesn't matter what you've cleansed. Google knows who you are, what you're doing. My favorite data point of all time, if you've ever seen any one of my presentations, I bring it up all the time. Google told a woman she was pregnant before she knew, based solely off of her search and communication patterns, in April of 2015. This was 6 years ago. I promise you, Google knows what you want to watch on YouTube. It's freaking nuts.
Mm-hmm.
Fitness Muscle Factory. What an awesome name, by the way.
Right.
My client account keeps getting suspended with suspicious payment error and circumventing issues. How to resolve that?
Okay, so the suspicious payment error usually is due to some sort of credit card issue. Now, again, they don't necessarily say, but it has something to do with the credit card that you're using. It might have been that it had a 1 or 2 times where it tried to charge the card and it couldn't charge the card, and then you hop in there and click the button and then it says, oh, thank you for your payment, like it was able to charge. My opinion, easiest way to get through that is just change credit cards. Now, the other area, though, of circumventing issues, most of the time what circumventing issues means is that there's more than one Google Ads account that has been suspended. So it means that I started, like a Merchant Center account, that got suspended. I started a new one, and it says, hey, you can't just circumvent our ban. You have to go fix the first one. So going back to the original either Google Ads account or Merchant Center account and fixing that first is going to be the ideal scenario. You can never just start another account once the first account gets banned because it fingerprints everything. It's like, oh yeah, John ran from this IP with this computer with this internet connection and this location is trying to do this again. No, he's trying to circumvent our policy, and so they'll immediately ban every single one subsequent that you create after that. So you have to go back to the first one and address the issues there.
I knew all those answers too. I thought I'd let John take that. Scrolling past, Exam Mentor Online says they are available as well in other languages than English. In Exam, I think you might be talking about my course. And the answer is no. I'm interested in a partner that's willing to translate. So if somebody here can translate English to whatever, let me know and we'll do a rev share.
Hola, ¿cómo estás? Me llamo John.
This is why I need a partner that can translate.
I got you.
Chris says, howdy, Chief. Chris said, howdy, Chef, which you got me all wrong, Chris. That's John. You can barbecue better than anybody ever known. I got a debt collector client. There are people who got to his website to hire him, good traffic, and there are people who go to his website to pay their debts, bad traffic. We tagged the different logins so we can see who is who, but I'm curious, how'd you cut out the latter in Google Ads? We ran into this with, I can't say their name, the co-location company with the email logins. It was a freaking nightmare.
So debt collector, people who go to his website to hire him and people to go to his website to pay their debts. Okay, so you're talking about existing traffic.
Yeah, they're just Googling a brand and then hitting on their ads.
What we found is that when you tag the logins, I'm curious. Are you saying people that have gone to this page is the people that need to be removed from your campaigns? My first thing is I'm thinking that those people are probably coming through the brand campaign or some sort of branded keyword. A lot of times people don't just Google an exploratory keyword to make it to the website to pay the debt. So I would imagine that if they're new Google Ads traffic going to the site to log in, you're 100% right in taking that URL and saying, if you've been to this page, exclude that audience. Another thing I would do is make that login page, once it's a successful login, make that a conversion action and then exclude that converter from that campaign as well. Also, look through your search terms though, and what will happen is, what's nice is when you make it a conversion action, you can tell exactly the campaign, keyword, ad, and ad group that's driving that traffic to log in. It's good to know that you can block those people that are going to the login page, but if you can identify exactly where they're coming from, then you can proactively block them. So make the successful login a conversion action. Do not count it in conversions, leave it counted in all conversions. But then when you see those people convert by logging in to the page to pay their debts, identify the campaign, keyword, ad group, and ad, and see if it's more maybe branded traffic or a keyword that is kind of the same keyword as a brand, like debt consolidation experts. Could be, I'm just saying as an example, but identify where those people are actually coming from by making it a conversion action, and then reverse engineer how to block those people or stop or just turn that off.
Can I take a moment for something selfish?
Yeah.
There's a dude on our live right now, Bohan. I'm not going to be able to pronounce your last name. Bohan has been a long-time subscriber. I say since we've been shooting since October, but he's been subscribing for as long as I think we've been running. He's contributed so much value. Yeah. The guy's so freaking smart. Like, Bohan, if you had a channel, I'd subscribe to it. And Bohan runs Amazon PPC. So what I want to do right now is just pimp out our buddy here and say, if you need an Amazon PPC expert, I'm going to drop his link into the chat. You can see in chat, he's already, look at him. He's already like providing a ton of value, answering a bunch of questions, explaining frequency capping and different browsers to use to stop tracking. Like, this guy is wicked sharp. Bohan, I'd love to partner with you on something. Really appreciate all the contribution you provide. Just so impressed with you, so grateful. So I hope we can push some business your way. I'd love to do a live interview with you, man. Every time I ask you, you push me off. So he's elusive, but I'll get you. Like, some point, we're going to get you on the YouTube channel, and we're going to go back and forth and chop it up. We've got 4 minutes. How do you feel about rapid fire?
Let's do it.
All right. So Aki asked about aggressive versus conservative, but I think you already did that, so we're going to skip it. Salvador says, is smart shopping effective for high-ticket items or only medium or low-ticket?
Yes, high-ticket items. Make sure that you're tracking phone calls, though, because if you don't track phone calls, people like to call before making a high-ticket item. They don't usually just put $68,000 of product into a cart and swipe their credit card. Those are going to be calls and possibly chats. So make sure that you can track a call from the source. Call Tracking Metrics does a really good job of this, same as Go High Level. But yeah, track the phone calls because people are still interested. And the best part about it is when they see the product at a $50,000 price point from the manufacturer and say, I agree, that's okay. And they click on the ad, if they had a buying intent. They already know the price, they already know the manufacturer, they already know what it looks like. They've agreed that that's what they're looking for. And then they made it to the website. They're going to call. So make sure you track phone calls.
What is frequency capping?
Frequency capping is limiting the amount of time a person can see an ad. So if I set it to 5, it means that when I show an ad to this audience, customer will see it 5 times, either per day, per week, per month, before they just stop seeing it.
Thoughts on Performance Max? Is this the end as we know it?
It might be. We just signed up for the beta too, so I don't know. We're gonna have to. We're testing it for ourselves, and it might be the end of the world. I'm thinking everything's just gonna go maximize conversions, and it's gonna be expensive. That's my hypothesis, but we'll see what happens.
Can you have 2 smart campaigns coexist, targeting different geographic regions and having the same products?
Yes.
I'm kind of new. How does an ad get banned?
Oh, don't have time for that, but
all the ways.
Yeah.
How does an ad not get banned? Is the real question.
If you run it too aggressive of a sale when you first start your Google Merchant Center, you can get banned. So, I mean, literally hundreds of ways.
Can you go deeper on the cross-pollination aspects of moving products to smart shopping campaigns? Keep in mind, 50% of our products are disapproved for remarketing since they're supplement-ish.
Yep. So it means that Google's smart shopping campaigns do not share audiences very well. The campaign that they originally came in on is the campaign that is originally going to remarket to them. So if they come in on product A from campaign A, and then they view add to cart and don't buy product B from campaign B, campaign A is still gonna be like, hey, remember that product you're no longer interested that you came in from? You want that? Because the product you're actually interested is excluded in this campaign. So I'm going to remarket to the original item.
I'm running a high budget campaign for a client and have problems in scaling the account. I run 2 search, cold and branded, and 2 smart shopping, 1 converting products and 1 all products, and 2 regular shops.
Check your analytics, go into the e-commerce setting, look at product performance, overlay the product, Google Ads campaign ID, and see if your Google Ads campaign ID matches the amount of sales in your analytics as it does in smart shopping. If not, it means that those 2 are bouncing users between both products, and remarketing has been cut in half. And then also your initial campaign sale performance has been cut in half. So you're basically taking 2 campaigns and diluting them. I would recommend immediately combining them, no matter what. because each individual product in Smart Shopping acts as its own campaign, period. They don't, it's not like, well, you're interested in this group of products. Nope, every product is its own campaign, a Smart Shopping campaign.
Acumet asked for a link to the masterclass. That's going to be live by the end of July. It'll actually be a recorded class. The masterclass is running now, and we're using the recording in order to create the course. So it'll be a course, not a masterclass. Exam Mentor, was asking if lead forms are translated into different languages. The answer has to be yes, right? Do we know which ones?
Oh, I don't think that they're translated. I think Google will translate it for you, but then it could be like, welcome to Google stuff. I don't know if it's ever really good.
Yeah, Vaughn's saying faster, faster. We did it. It's 10 o'clock. We've got a company meeting to get to. Thank you so much for everybody who showed up. Like, comment, subscribe. We love you guys. We're going to see you later. John goes live Monday at 9:30.
Hey.
Bye.